Today to announce Mary Hyde, your pet's life coach, and with me tonight is your canine herbalist, Rita Hogan. Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, Rita is, you guys are just in for a treat. So what I've been telling you when we do these is that we are going to talk a lot about the Thriving Pet Expo, and we're going to announce topics, and we're going to talk a little bit about the topics. But if you have any questions for Rita, if you've never met Rita, if you've been dying to ask her a question, she's here. We've got her for an hour. So let's kind of jump into this and talk a little bit about what's been going on. And we're going to talk a little bit about Thriving Expo. So without any further ado, why don't we just scream it out? What are you going to be talking about at the Thriving Pet Expo this year?
I am going to be talking about the secret little system that goes on in the background of you and your pets called the lymphatic system. And a lot of people don't even know what that is, which is fine. There's no shame in the game. No shame in the game. But a lot of people don't know what it is. They don't, know the importance of it. And once they find out about it and all the stuff that it does, they really do like, oh my God, I had no idea. And then when you start supporting your dog's lymphatic system, you see they definitely start to thrive for sure.
How much of a role do you think the lymphatic system is playing in their health?
Huge. It's responsible for the absorption of fat soluble vitamins, for one thing, which is good. And then we also have the fat soluble toxins. So it's a one-way system, only goes one way, and it has like little. I always equate it to a highway, and the Amazon trucks are going down the highway, right? And you see trucks and they have to pull over to those little, weighing stations, right? Well, that's kind of, the trucks are the fat soluble vitamins and the fat soluble toxins, right? And they have to pull over, and the lymph nodes, which are these little checkpoints all over your dog's body, they have to check in and make sure that those toxins get left there, and that the fat soluble vitamins, which are the trucks, just keep on going, and they go to the liver and end up in the bloodstream, and then it starts all over again, and it keeps on going and going and going and going. But the lymphatic system is so important because 1 out of 2 dogs will die of cancer, and the lymphatic system is an anti-cancer system. Wow. I think every single one of us has been touched by cancer in some way. I'm a cancer survivor, so I'm very familiar with the lymphatic system and how important it is. But cancer in general can help be avoided by having a clean lymphatic system. And when your dog or yourself or anyone has cancer, doctors want to look at, has it moved to the lymph system? And the reason why is because it is a super highway throughout the body in which disease can spread if it's not working the way it should. The lymph system is to look at fat soluble toxins and pathogens and kill it. And that's why you can get a swollen lymph gland. Some dogs get swollen lymph glands. And, the thing is that for some reason, every single time a dog gets a swollen lymph gland, people immediately jump to, well, the only reason why they'll swell is lymphoma. And that is not true. I've had plenty of dogs with swollen lymph glands, and you give them the right herbal treatment and or homeopathic treatment, and there's no more swollen lymph glands. Chronically swollen lymph glands can be a red flag to other more serious conditions, but keeping a really healthy lymph system is important, and it's hard. It's hard to do in these days because we're much more sedentary. We live sedentary lifestyles. I know a lot of people try really hard at not living a sedentary lifestyle, right? But we don't get enough exercise. The average American dog gets less than 15 minutes a day of exercise. 15 minutes.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, that's crazy, right? So, even age appropriate exercise, it doesn't matter. Like, even if you have an old dog, right? you can get out there and walk really slow with your dog.
Yeah.
I
I
hear. Is that Nellie Olson? Is that your cat?
Oh my God, no, that's Batman. You can hear him?
Oh yeah, he's going meow meow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Batman. He's I don't know. You'd probably be able to tell what moon is aligned with what star right now, but he has been a bad cat for like 3 days. So I think
Actually, we are in Mercury retrograde in Virgo right now, which means that everything crazy is coming out. Like everything, people, you feel more crazy, you feel more like paranoid, much more concerned with like the details of things that you most like normally don't care about at all.
yeah,
And animals and people are feeling very strange right now. And yeah, it's Mercury in retrograde. I think it's till September 17th. I can't remember the end date, but it's a while.
I'm telling he has been like on it. I told Tim, your cat has to move out because like he's been picking on Nellie Olson and he's been picking on little CJ and he's just been a jerk. He's just being a bad boy. And
Well,
I yeah,
I
he's
I
being
myself love it. I love naughty cats. I love naughty cats. Yeah, Carl's naughty. So yeah, the lymphatic system is so important, and again, it is one of those things that people should be shouting from the rooftops because dogs need exercise, and that's one way to kind of work the lymphatic system. But even everyday exercise isn't enough because of the fact that they're not outside every single day doing dog stuff like they used to be eons ago, doing everything
right.
every single day. We're spoiling our pets, we spoil ourselves, and we don't do as much hard work as we used to, right? And our
Yeah.
lymphatic system is suffering. So there are ways to stimulate the lymphatic system, and I'm going to explain at the Thriving Pet Expo all the ways in which um, the lymphatic system affects the body. I don't want to do my speech right now, but
Yeah.
it's definitely a new talk, one that I've never done. And
So
um,
excited.
I mean, I've definitely talked about the lymphatic system, but I'm going to go in much more detail and kind of really go for that cancer element, just to try to help prevent cancer. It, one thing, Carrie, is that that is interesting. Um, People say to me like, well, there's a thing about farm dogs, right? This thing about farm dogs that I've kind of dealt with in the last 20 years. You'll see these dogs that are obviously live on farms, right? That spend most of their day outside, running around doing things. Someone might say that they weren't well taken care of. They got like a nasty plate of nasty dog food, right? They usually get some table scraps or whatever, but nasty dog food, just the AFFCO, just enough to keep the dog alive, okay? But a lot of these dogs do a lot of natural foraging. But a couple of things they do that our own dogs don't do on a normal basis is they get fresh air. They breathe fresh air more than our spoiled dogs do, for sure. Um, they lay on the ground. So they're connecting with the earth and charging their electrical batteries because we are electric. Our dogs are electric. It's why the paddles work when people go into cardiac arrest. If we weren't electric, they won't work. And they use those on dogs as well. And they're charging their batteries. They're breathing fresh air, and they're moving so much more than our little spoiled dogs.
Yeah,
I
for
my own,
sure.
and they may not be getting that nutrition, right?
Right.
But their organs and their voltage, and I'm not going to speak, this is not something I'm speaking about, but their voltage is so much higher, which means that their cells are operating at a higher voltage than our dogs' cells are operating because of inactivity, because of the fact that they're not touching the ground, the earth, not the cement, not the sidewalk, the ground, right? And they're not breathing the continuous fresh air. They're not exposed to the amount of toxins that we expose our dogs to in our own homes. And their organs are operating at such a higher level that they can deal with the diet, because these dogs also forage wildly. They eat rabbits, they eat mice, they eat things that, they eat birds, they catch things because they're not being watched all the time. I'm not saying that we should just put our dogs out. I'm saying the difference, because people are always like, I don't understand how that dog ate that food and lived that long. The reason why is because of all those other things that made their organs much more apt to be able to deal with the toxins. So, as more sedentary dogs and keeping our dogs inside and, living the spoiled lifestyle, how do we do that? How do we replicate that in our own homes? And so we have to pay much more attention to diet and
Right.
exercise and getting our dogs outside, and for ourselves to breathe fresh air and be exposed to more of the ground with our actual bare feet and body than we do, because we tend to wear shoes. We tend to, shoes that are insulated from electricity. Um, and those are a lot of things that do, in fact, impact the lymphatic system. They impact our blood in general and our circulation level, because the lymphatics circulate. It's circulate, but they don't have a pump. Okay, so the lymphatics have no pump; they're gravity fed. So we have to get we have to move. Otherwise, we have to stimulate with herbs, right? We can stimulate with herbs. Um, to move the lymphatics, but we've got to get it going. And so that's what I basically will be talking about, and different herbs that stimulate lymphatics, and how the lymphatics play such an important role in cancer prevention and disease prevention in general. Um, so
It's gonna be so
it's
good.
very exciting.
It's going to be so great because a lot of the speakers are speaking, just like you said, it's the first time you've spoke on this. A lot of the speakers are doing the first time is going to, that they're not that you aren't well versed in it, but I'm speaking somewhere actually September 9th, and it's the first time I'm speaking on it, but it's a subject I know very well. But I am so excited about the event because all of the stuff that each one of you are talking about in the lymphatic system, I could tell you for sure, as a vet tech for so many years, it was never talked about. It was never talked about
No.
at all. It just wasn't something we looked in. And as far as like exercise for our animals, it's interesting because I own a doggy daycare. And so people bring them in for exercise. But unfortunately, being in Southern California, it's indoors. And so even that, even the fact that, it was funny because I saw Rita in Vegas. And when we got back, it's a lot, it's a lot of energy that's going on in the Vegas show that we went to. And so when I got back, I needed to detox. And honestly, I just went out in my backyard and took my shoes off and I dug my feet deep down into the mud. And I just stood there for the longest time and fed my turtles. And oh my God, it felt so good. It felt so good to just do that. We really do need to get our dogs out there and moving in the dirt, in the mud, and like just getting back. I did a podcast a while back with a wolf expert, and I know there's a lot of factors, but what you're talking about being outdoors and breathing air is so interesting because wolves don't die from cancer.
No,
they don't. That's not what they die from. And I can't attest for every single wolf expert, but this wolf expert told me he never in all the years he'd been studying words ever had a wolf die from cancer.
except when they go into sanctuaries.
Yeah, probably, but this was just all he does wild wolves.
Absolutely. Most wolves die from human shooting them.
Yep, that's exactly what he said. That he said number one reason, at least the ones in his area that he was studying, number one reason was humans. We kill them. And then second reason was actually their teeth grind down from eating bones and chewing on things and stuff. He says so sometimes their teeth will get ground down and they'll find them and they can't think of any other reason why they died other than not being able to eat or kill or hunt, that kind of thing. It was interesting that they just don't die from cancer.
No, they
right?
don't. I mean, it's the same thing, and they are also another thing that's really hard on animals in general and people. And some people don't like to hear this, but it is what it is overfeeding. Wolves don't overfeed. Sometimes they go a couple days without eating. I'm not telling you to not give your dog food every day. I'm just saying they don't overeat. It's one of those things that they do not overeat. And it's overfeeding your dog is so hard on the liver and the small intestine.
I
And
think
it,
I think it's one of the number one causes of pancreatitis. It's not, you know, there's always been, and we could get into that, but from what I'm seeing, my experience is no matter whether you're feeding a raw diet or a kibble fed diet, I see all of the dogs getting pancreatitis. So the only other factor that I can see is the overfeeding. I'm like, I have dogs that are eating great diets, but they're eating so much of it 3 times a day, plus treats, plus this, plus that, plus this, and then they have pancreatitis. And it's just the overfeeding drives me crazy.
yeah, it's a huge problem with overfeeding. And I like to call it grandma syndrome. My mom, I call her grandma because she's 93. So she's quite old. She's good. Well, she's going to be 93 in 2 months. So
That's
she's
amazing.
92. But uh, she cannot interact with any of our dogs without feeding them. She cannot. She can't. She feels terrible, because dogs beg, especially, in the house dogs, they beg. And they're subjected to so many aromas and smells, and it gets everything going. And she cannot do it. I mean, I don't care if I threaten her. Like, if you do it again, you know, she's just like, whatever. And I'll catch her giving them, like my mom loves to eat like white bread, English muffins, things like
Yeah,
that, things I never feed my dogs.
right.
I'll be like, Grandma, here's the treats that you can give the puppies, but you can't give them anything. No, she feeds them
Yeah.
whatever she wants. And it's just like, oh my God, Grandma. And she just won't do it. So you know, but overfeeding in general is just really hard on the lymphatics. It's really hard on the liver. It's hard on the small intestine. And here's the thing, some people don't know this, and I'm going to tell you a little secret. So there's this little thing in the small intestine called the mitigating motor complex. Okay. And do you know what that is, Carrie?
No.
Okay, well, here we go. So there's a little thing called the mitigating motor complex, and we all have it. Okay, we have it, and our dogs have it. And what it does is it sweeps pathogens and bacteria out of the small intestine. It's a little sweeper. It goes sweep, sweep. And the interesting thing is it doesn't happen for 90 minutes. Okay, that's my understanding. It could be a little less in dogs, but I don't think it is. 90 minutes after we eat. Okay, 90 minutes after the last piece of food is put in the mouth. Okay, 90 minutes. And that's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Okay, so then it sweeps, and it takes a while to do it. Okay, and so like whenever I work with clients, people with SIBO or gastrointestinal problems, I tell them no snacking at all. And I do it myself. Like during the weekday, I don't snack at all. And it makes such a difference in our digestion, in my digestion. And dogs with treats, the treats alone, if you give them a treat, it stops that MMC immediately. It shuts off. It's like, all of a sudden in the video game, you've got the player that you've wanted for so long, right? But as soon as you put a piece of food in the mouth, that sucker goes away. The little janitor just disappears, and it stops it. And then it's going to be a while before it starts it again. It's going to be another hour and a half. Okay. That MMC is so important for avoiding food sensitivities, for avoiding SIBO, for avoiding fungal overgrowth. I mean, and you see all these problems in dogs. So many dogs have these problems for avoiding pathogenic bacteria from staying in the small intestine. And it's not supposed to be there. It gets swept out into the large intestine, where a healthy microbiome is going to balance out all that bacteria. And so a lot of people don't even know what the MMC is, and a lot of humans don't know that it exists. And it's a reason why you shouldn't snack. And I'm not saying to take all the joy out of life. If your gut is fine and you don't have pathogenic overgrowth, you don't have any candida going on, you don't think your gut is perfect in your opinion, go ahead and snack. But know that if you keep snacking like every hour, it's not going to turn on until you go to bed.
How
So
do
you're
you know how
building
long it takes? How long is it going? Do you know?
I think it goes for about 30 to 45 minutes.
Wow. And if you're just constantly stuffing food down your face and your dogs, I mean, I've seen it. I've seen dogs come in that are like, give him a stack at 10, give him another one at 12, give him lunch at 3. He likes to have a little of this at 4. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
So they're not getting the pathogens out of their small intestine, and they're not supposed to be there. And they need to go into the large intestine. And the more pathogenic overgrowth you get, the more apt you are to get leaky gut. So a lot of dogs that with leaky gut, in my practice, I've seen are fed too much. And not saying that is definitely not the only reason why dogs get gut permeability issues, but I make sure, hey, don't feed them snacks during the day. Feed them, just set a timer, wait 3 hours. So like in human medicine, you wait 3 hours. So you can eat your breakfast, and then after your last bit is given, you wait 3 hours and you don't eat again for 3 hours. And, it's interesting that morning, noon, and dinner meals are very set up for the mitigating motor complex. They're usually about 3 to 4 hours between. And when you fast or your dog fasts or whatever. I had a dog named Seamus. He self-selected so many things, and he just didn't eat some days. And he did it for 17 years. He had no problem. He did not die of natural causes. And, so he was amazing that way. And I used to get freaked out when he first started doing it. And then I just realized it was him. And then I noticed that a lot of poodle mixes will go and be very picky and then eat like 2 meals in one day, 3 meals in one day, and then I'd eat for like a day or two. And he would do that all the time. And I just got used to it and just let him do it. And then he was just like, yeah, I need you to be, hey, I need more. Just give me more. Then he'd go do he just wasn't food motivated,
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of people don't know that little mechanism exists either. And then, obesity is a huge problem in dogs, and very rarely do we have a medical condition where it's causing obesity. Now, hypothyroid can cause that, but what causes hypothyroid, right? Liver problems are the biggest issue with hypothyroid dogs. And also, I'm just going off on a tangent, Carrie, I apologize. Also, there's another big problem that I've noticed in dog food. And, I just got back from Super Zoo, we saw each other, and I was checking every food. Now, I wasn't in the like science diet section. Okay. I was talking natural foods, companies that are doing a good job. I think they're trying their best to put together recipes that work, but there's an unfortunate part. A lot of your green leafy vegetables, okay, that people are using kind of in the box. You can kind of recall them like this, like collard greens, broccoli, kale, Brussels sprouts, different things like that. A lot of cauliflower. You see that a lot in dog foods. They're goitrogens.
They're what?
And they're goitrogens. They cause hypothyroid. Wow. Okay. So, we all want convenience, right? And, but dogs eating goitrogens every single day is not a good idea. And, I know I don't live in a perfect world at all, and I'm not formulating my own dog food and all that kind of stuff. And I know that the AFFCO or whatever, what is it?
AFCO?
Yeah, AFFCO, right? AFFCO.
AFFCO, yeah.
Yeah, I know they have certain guidelines and stuff. But feeding broccoli and cauliflower and collard greens and kale and spinach, those vegetables are very healthy, okay, very healthy, but we're meant to eat on a seasonal level where things come into season, we eat them. They're super healthy for that season for sure, right? They're super healthy and then they're supposed to go out of season. That's the natural rhythm of nature, right? Well, we're not living in the natural rhythm of nature. We can get blueberries from Mexico in the winter time, those types of things, and start to eat the same foods as people and dogs all the time. And when you eat goitrogens every single day, now some dogs, it's not going to affect them at all. They're not predisposed to hypothyroid, but other dogs are. And those vegetables suppress thyroid function, which, broccoli is super good for you, but it's not super good for you if you eat it every single day. And so I looked at a lot of the recipes for dogs. Uh, I was looking for sugar. I was looking for sugar, which I made a post this week. It's horrible, and
Everywhere.
it's making its way into our dog treats, our dog
Everything.
formulations. Someone even told me that they use brown sugar as a binder, which is not true. It doesn't bind, it dissolves. So I don't
Why
know if
is
that.
binder an acceptable answer to everything? Because I get it too. I'm like, why is this in there? It's a binder. And then people go, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a binder. So I was looking at sugar. I was looking at folic acid added to the diet, which is a no-no for me. Not folate and not methylfolate or folate or folinic acid, folic acid. Um, who added folic acid? And then I was looking at goitrogens. Now, almost every single formula I saw besides green juju had goitrogens in their food. And it's because people think, well, spinach and broccoli and kale, and it's really healthy. But
Right.
there are other, even watercress is a slight goitrogen. Um, there are other things that can replace that, like herbs in general, and like parsley and uh, beetroot and beet greens. They're not goitrogens. There's lots of, and carrot greens, different types of other types of greens that don't have thyroid suppressing problems, qualities in them.
When,
So
when you
that's
say
another thing that I've noticed that is
when
an
you say
issue.
carrot greens, are you just talking about the leaf of the carrot?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feed those to my dogs all the time, but it's interesting how many times people think that's just trash. I'm like, are you kidding?
Or dandelion greens, dandelion,
Dandelion greens, they get too. Yeah.
they're cooling, um, so there's just a few things, and I'm talking perfect world here stuff, but I do think that if you have a dog that has hypothyroid, right, you need to pay attention to what vegetables are being used in your food, because it can slow down the thyroid, but it also slows down the lymphatic system, because the thyroid has a huge effect on lymph and adrenals and liver. And the liver has a huge effect on the lymphatic system and the portal vein, which the portal vein is like, you know, those two cups that I used when we were little. You put the string in the cup.
Yeah.
The liver's one cup and the small intestine's the other cup. And the little string is the portal vein. It's how they talk to each other. And the portal vein is really important as well. And our entire endocrine systems and our dog's endocrine systems, the thyroid and the liver have a very intricate relationship, in that they kind of regulate so many things along with the adrenals and other hormones like estrogen and progesterone and testosterone. So, which our animals, of course, are depleted in as well.
So depleted.
They're
I just think that we're just missing the boat. It seems like anytime a dog has any kind of a problem with itching or scratching or ear infections or whatever it is, they just go straight to allergies. And there's so much more. That's why I'm so excited about this event, because there's so many topics that are going to be covered in depth, so that people can understand and then do follow-up questions. And then we have the tables. The way the tables are going to be set up is, the round tables like we had last year. I really like them like that, because it gives you time to talk to everybody at the table and get their opinions. Like, what did you think about this? Or, oh yeah, my dog had that. instead of doing like the classroom style, which can be beneficial too, but I really like the round table so that you can communicate with everybody at the table and try to learn, because some of this stuff can be really hard, right, for pet parents to kind of follow and understand. And sometimes you just need your neighbor to be like, did she say da 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 da?
Well,
And
and
what do you
the whole thing about going in person, yeah, it's more expensive in general, but it's such an investment in your knowledge, in your the we need to be around people. People
I
need.
do.
I'm
Yeah.
very reclusive. Okay, I am a very reclusive person, but I know for my own health, I need to be around people. Like when I was recovering from a major illness, I was working with this holistic healer, and the first thing she said to me, the first thing I thought, I mean, I would have called this was, "You need more friends." She's like, "You need to
Wow.
get out of the house more. You need to stop being so reclusive. I know my books were, my books have always been my best friends." And, she's like, "I know that, you'd rather just sit home and read a good book." She goes, "But you need to have more friends." And when I said, "Okay, I'm going to get more friends." And I did. I got more friends. I even joined one of those stupid friends app, and I met new people, and, not everyone worked out, but I went on friendship dates. It was crazy.
It was
But I did make some really good friends, and it helped me so much, and it made me feel so much better. And when you are around other people, like I said, it's like if you see a concert on TV, you
yeah.
know, it's a completely different story than seeing a concert in person. I tell you, right, I'm a concert crier. I don't know about anyone else, but I cry at concerts. I don't
Aw.
know why. I cry every single time. Um, every single time. I'm a mess. And I'm going to see Natalie Merchant on September 23rd, and I guarantee you she will start talking, start singing, and I will start crying. I just do it. I get so moved.
Yeah.
I could listen to her CD all day and not cry.
The energy.
It involves so much more emotion and getting to know people and feeling that you're not alone. And we sit in our houses and watch all these videos, and you're watching me right now, just like right now. It's completely different than when I'm in front of you and I'm able to answer your question and talk to you and explain something to you and get more information. And one thing that, Carrie, you do really well, I have to say, your event was the best event I have ever spoken at. And I felt so cared for, and so you gave so much time for question and answers, so that people who are coming there can interact with speakers and get their questions answered. And even I know that all of the speakers stayed afterwards to had little lines of people that wanted to talk to them, and we spent lunches with our VIP people. And I talked to people throughout the day, like throughout the day,
Yeah.
nonstop speaking to people. And um, I just felt so energized and so, kind of energized to just go home and continue like innovating and making more of a difference. And it definitely kind of energized me to write my book. And I just loved it. And it's apples and oranges. So if you're on the West Coast, anywhere in the other half of America, and you can afford to make it to the Thriving Pet Expo, I would highly recommend it. You will not be disappointed. You're not going to go away and go, "God, that really sucked." And I'll tell you, Dr. Barry Sands is there. And Barry Sands does not do a lot of stuff on social media.
Not
Okay.
at all.
So a lot of people, she was the holistic vet of the year a couple years ago. I didn't even know who she was. I I had no idea who she was. I was like, okay, I don't know this person at all. And who is she? And
Yep.
she blew me away. She
Yep.
blew she blew, I knew a lot of what she was talking about, but her slides and her research into that topic of vibration and how, our emotions spill out over to our animals, which is, something that um, I've been discussing with my clients for a really long time, but I'm really happy to hear it get into the mainstream now. More and more
Yeah.
people are talking about our effects of our stress, especially after COVID. COVID was awful, but lots of things happen for a reason. And I think people are really starting to understand how we need to be around other people. Number two, how our stress is just spills over into our dog stress. And like, when a lot of people went back to work, they saw their dogs just fall apart
It was
because,
awful.
yeah, they were falling apart. And I think I know a lot of that has to do with how we share our heart vibration. And, you know, Barry's talk was amazing. I didn't expect to sit and listen to the other speakers. I was nervous. I had things that I needed to do. I pictured myself, doing I sat in that room. It was one day last year. I sat in that room and did not hardly move from my seat except to go to the bathroom because the talks were so good. And um, this year it's 2 days, and I can't wait to hear Katie Woodley speak.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I get two crazy cat ladies. Those, if you've never been around Jane, Adrian, they are infectious. They are so awesome. And I think I would fly across the world to just be around them. They
Yeah.
are so wonderful. And Katie Kangas is so brilliant. Dr. Odette Suter is wonderful. Julie always never disappoints. Billy Holcomb is a delight to listen to, and he's such a just a bright mind of caring. He cares
Yeah.
so much about nutrition and about educating people on where their food comes from, because we need to get that connection. And I think it's all about connections. Going to a live event is about connections.
Oh, absolutely.
Finding where your food is coming from is about connections. Getting out into the earth and nature is about connections. And we just need to keep kind of supporting that, right?
Yeah. No, it is. It's one of the reasons why I do have the round tables, is because I want people to walk away from there with lifelong connections. I know I made some last year because it really is about that. And I can be a little bit of a introvert at times, where I think, oh, I just don't want to be around people, because I can get a little nervous. But every single time I do, I'm happy that I did. Like, even going to Vegas, I was kind of getting a little nervous because there's going to be a lot of people there, and I have a tendency to say stupid things. And I'm like, please don't say anything stupid, like that I'm going to regret. And so I get nervous when I'm around big crowds. But last year I walked away from there just thinking, thank God that we did this. And there were so many relationships that were built that I still have. And that's what I'm excited about this year too, is seeing some of the people from last year and hearing how much they learned and how it changed. I've had emails from people saying, I learned this, I learned that. Dr. Barry Sands is going to be talking about something super. All the speeches are so amazing because they are covering so much and that's why we had to do a 2-day this year, because we wanted to cover more. We needed to cover more in that short time. And Dr. Barry Sands is going to be talking about emergency room visits. And we're more and more finding ourselves at the emergency room because our vets are inundated and they can't take us. And so we're going to these emergency rooms just because there's, your vet will say you have a dog who's sick and they say they can see you in 3 weeks. That's not, maybe I could wait a day or two, but I can't wait 3 weeks. And so Dr. Barry Sands is going to be talking about emergency room visits and what to do and what not to do and when to go and when not to go. And she's a holistic emergency room vet, which is really, really interesting because you don't really see that very much. So yeah, the amount of talks that are coming out are just amazing. I'm so impressed with all of the topics that you guys chose.
And also,
Because
you're gonna have more time for Q&A, which I just love.
lots of Q&A, lots and lots and lots of Q&A. For the VIP tickets, they actually get you guys alone. They're having lunch with you, so they are just going to sit in a room. And when we do our VIP, I don't think there's very many VIP tickets left, to be honest with you. So I feel bad almost saying it, but when I did the VIP, it was really important to me that we did it a real VIP, so that if they come in to have lunch with you guys, there's not a line of 50 people, right? Because that didn't do any good. I think Lori could tell me, I think we only put like 20 on sale. And so 20 people get to go in and have lunch with you guys. So the VIP, if there's any left and you can afford it, and I know it's expensive, but keep in mind the food that is there is phenomenal. And the price that you're paying for these tickets, I doubt you could go get lunch with tip and all the other stuff you would have to pay, that you could get it at that price. I'll be real honest with you, because it's really great. And Lori's telling me right now, yeah, we had 20 VIP tickets. So I don't know how many are left, but even if you don't get VIP, the Q&A that we're doing is a lot, both days. And I think we have Q&A like 2 times throughout it. So it's really amazing. And all the speakers are, willing to stay. Last year, I noticed a lot of them are willing to stay and talk in between. And so it's so amazing. Really quick though, I do want to, first I want to just do a shout out because there's a couple of people on here that are just, Jen is on here and Dee is on here. And I saw, sometimes it says Facebook. I feel like I always, when I do this, when I start picking out names, do you remember Romper Room, where they have the little thing and he would talk through it and he would say, I see little Johnny. And I always feel like when I do that, sorry if you don't know Romper Room, I'm old. But I wanted to say thank you guys for always being on here and supporting, what we're trying to do and bringing your questions, because they matter. They always help us get kind of onto a subject that might be really, really important. So I wanted to ask this one question somebody had asked, and now I lost it. Herbs for oral, possibly cancer. Any ideas there, Rita?
That is you'd have to know what type of cancer, but know this, cancer is toxicity. So cancer is toxicity. And so you have to deal with toxicity in general. And I think that a lot of dogs get cancer where they're predisposed for it, or where they have the weakness for it, or an infection that you don't know about. Cancer definitely is toxicity in general. So you're going to look at liver health. You're going to look at kidney health. You're going to look at lymphatic health. Lymphatics are very important in the mouth, in the whole entire gastrointestinal system. And the lymphatics go all over the place. I mean, they're everywhere. So definitely look at that. So if your dog has oral health, I would do my energetics course first to keep you from using supplements that might add inflammation. You can do that at like canineherbalism.com. I have it there. Or I have some good stuff, free stuff on my podcast, which is Dogs Are Individuals podcast. You can get that at canineherbalism.com too, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. But I like mistletoe phytoembryonic therapy. You need to use the phytoembryonic therapy. Otherwise, you have to use it with a vet. I like mistletoe sprayed in the mouth. Mushrooms are going to be a huge thing. Turkey tail mushrooms. I don't know how big your dog is, but you want to give a lot of them. Whenever you're dealing with cancer, I see over and over again people not giving enough mushrooms for cancer. Like, it might seem like an overdose of mushrooms, but it's not going to be. You need a lot, like grams of mushrooms. I would start with turkey tail, possibly chaga. Chaga can also be used as a decoction, which is like a long simmered tea, cooled and then sprayed in the mouth. The mouth is hard because of getting anything to stick on it, so I just do consistent sprays on it. But you want to deal with internal toxicity and drainage. So I think homeopathy has a lot to offer for mouth cancers in general. I know, Dr. Todd Cooney is an excellent, still practicing. You can still get into him because a lot of that's that, like Dee Blanco, she's not practicing anymore. She has a educational group, I believe. She may be practicing. I'm not sure. DeeBlanco.com. She's awesome. But Dr. Todd Cooney is a wonderful homeopath that can help with oral cancer. I found it very effective. But cancer is all about toxicity. So you want to look at everything: water, food. You want to look at some people, they do not look at their environment in their own right. Like, our dogs are susceptible to so much in our homes. Air quality, super important. Mold exposure, yeast and bacterial overgrowth, of course. What you're feeding, also very important. But also what you're using as a laundry detergent. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. If you're using the laundry detergent that begins with T and ends with E, I would stop it and throw it away. So, all the big brands of laundry detergent are just crap. They're carcinogens. The reason why it works is it stays in your fibers and gets into your liver. But it stays in your fibers. Like that's why you don't get a lot of stains when you use that, because it coats the entire fibers of your clothes and our dog's blankets and anything they come in contact with. And anytime I work with a dog and I see the word, well, it rhymes with your last name, Hyde. I don't like to say it. I
Thanks
don't
a
like
lot.
right because they have a lot of big dollars and lots of lawyers. But I make them switch their laundry detergent to something natural and then just use like a simple like spray and wash or a little bit of if there's an oily spot, I just put a little tiny bit of Dawn on it. I'm using this much stuff versus like that stuff. A little Dawn, and I also have this natural little thing that I use that it's a little piece of soap that I rub onto my oily spots first. I only use Dawn if it's an absolute. Usually it's if I'm making infused oils or something. But dryer sheets, another thing, rhymes with trounce.
Trout.
Uh,
Is that a word? Is that a word?
Yes, trounce
Okay.
is a word.
Okay.
But yeah, no, check your own toxic usage of like things in your home. And you just, you don't get overwhelmed. Just take little steps every day to improve your environment. But in saving up and investing in a good water filter and a good filtration system, Air Doctor is one of my favorites. Is worth its weight in gold. It really is. And and there's another really great thing out there. It's called Canary. Canary, Canary. It's a Danish company. Love this, Carrie. It's a Danish company called Canary. It's a little bird on this little white round thing that you put in the main area of your house. And when the bird falls over,
Oh, shit.
right, it tells you to open your windows.
Oh my gosh.
Because we never open our windows, right? So the little I got it when they were just like a startup, and we haven't really had a problem with Gertrude, that's her name. We haven't had a problem with her in the summer because we keep we have a porch door, we keep that open, we keep the sliding doors open, we open all the windows. It's open all summer long, even at night. But when it starts getting cold out, she falls over, and then we just open the windows until she go. I've never seen her move though. That's the crazy thing. Like I have to sit there. I'm gonna have to just do time-lapse photography and she just goes pew. And when she's up, the air quality is pretty good. When she's down, it's not good at all. And she always falls down when I'm cooking.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's called Canary. It's just lovely.
I'm going to get it just for the fun. That's just to watch it.
I mean, she goes with any decor, but what a great concept. She has little sensors in her, and yeah, I love that because air quality is so important. And a lot of people
I have an Allen Air HEPA filter that I run through here. Tim puts it in the kitchen because he does a lot of cooking in there, but trying to clean it. But having the outside air, my problem is I have a train track very close to us, and I get really nervous because I know that they're constantly going down that train track. I don't know. But yeah, I would imagine air quality is
doing what we can afford for sure. That's why I tell people just take little steps. Anyone can afford opening their window.
Yeah, for sure.
And most people can afford walking their dog.
Oh, sorry. I thought there was another question
on the ground, right?
On the ground?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of things that are really healthy for us don't cost a thing. Go for a walk.
Yeah, for sure. So I know that for anybody who's maybe interested in going to the Thriving Pet Expo, we originally were just going to do two-day tickets, but realized that, this is a really expensive way to do this. And so we started offering one-day tickets. But just for anybody that's listening, what day are you speaking?
I think I'm speaking on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. So if you can only afford one-day ticket and you want to know about the lymphatic system and understanding the lymphatic system, and you can only get the one-day ticket, you're going to want to make sure you get that on Saturday. On the Thriving Pet Expo website, which Lori has so great, has been posting. You can get all of the schedules. So if that's something too that you need to know, like maybe you can't go the whole day, but you can go part day if you're local. Of course, if you're flying out, you're going to definitely want to do the full 2 days, which is the other reason why we did a 2-day, is because last year we had so many people that thought, God, just to fly out for 1 day was a lot. And they kind of thought they would like to wrap around a vacation around it, because it happens to be in Newport Beach, California. So it is a big destination place for people to come. And that time of year is so beautiful, that time of year. So we picked that time of year in that part of the town. So hopefully, but I just want to make sure everybody knew that if you can only do 1 day and you want to learn about the lymphatic system, Rita's speaking on Saturday. So he is a Great Dane, home cooked food, no toxic cleaning here. He is on CBD and mushrooms as an appointment. He has an appointment for biopsy Thursday. Should I stop the CBD?
I wonder if it's confirmed cancer. If I were you, Kayla, I would remove it. I wouldn't get a biopsy. I'm just saying, biopsies let cancer cells out. The body, I tell all my human clients, like if you have a small lump in your breast, right? And you're going to go don't get a biopsy. Just go get a lumpectomy. Just get it out. Or treat it, treat it naturally and try to, give yourself 6 months. I'm going to give myself 6 months to shrink it, right? I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to change my diet, my stress, whatever. And I'm going to try to shrink it. If you can't shrink it, get it removed. Biopsies, cancer cells are super tiny, and you stick a needle in that, it lets them out. So the body is awesome in that it keeps it there. It says, same road I'm going down with removal.
This is a different person.
Yeah, I would remove it. I would forgo the biopsy. I would just remove it. Then you can get it biopsied, which is very important. I like to do it out of the body versus in the body. Get it biopsied and see if it's cancer. And if it is, then you can treat your dog with cancer. It will, surgery is hard on the body. It is. But the treatment would be the same anyways. If you got a biopsy and it was cancer, then you'd remove it, right? Remove it. Just remove it. And, or try to treat it naturally. For me, if it's in a good spot and it's not going to cause a lot of harm and you can get good margins, you can get it out, I would just remove it. If it's in a bad spot and it doesn't, it isn't a place where you can remove it and you can't get good margins, then I would treat it as cancer.
And not biopsy.
No, I wouldn't biopsy it. I'm not a big fan of biopsy. That's just me. And I've had cancer, and no, I did not have a biopsy, but and I've lost people to cancer, and biopsies are, they're, it's great to know what it is, but unfortunately it lets cancer cells out into the places where they're not supposed to be. The body's super smart. Remember that one. And so it's just trying to take care of itself when it develops a tumor. But tumor formation is liver related. So, the liver needs help. Your dog's liver needs help. And the lymphatics definitely need help. And I'm sorry you're going through this. It sucks. But I would get into someone that can remove it. If it's small enough, it's not huge. I would remove it. Buy yourself some time to get your dog's lymphatics moving, the liver moving. I would definitely do my energetics course so that you're just not giving foods that are working against you by accident. A lot of people, unknowingly do. Judy Morgan's got some great free information on energetics as well. So you could go to her website and see, that kind of information. But I would not biopsy. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm not a vet. I am not a vet.
Yeah. I say, I'm going to get a t-shirt for me that says that I'm not a vet.
I'm not a vet. I'm not a vet.
I think I'm serious. We should start our own group called I'm Not a Vet.
I'm not a vet. I'm not
a vet. We have to. We say it all the time, but experience plays such a big role in I think what we have learned and done. And I know both Rita and I have been around animals. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Rita used to own a doggy daycare, so we have a lot in common.
Oh, doggy
A
boarding,
lot.
doggy
Boarding.
boarding.
Sorry.
I was
Yeah.
I was an hour outside the main city of Nashville, and so we couldn't do daycare, but we did overnight boarding. So Carrie and I have a lot of the same stories and experience with people
Yeah.
and their dogs and what they go through and counting pieces of kibble.
Yeah. That's we we call them kibble counters.
Kibble.
Kibble counters.
Yeah. But
you don't want to be a kibble counter.
No, don't do it. So yeah, I mean, I hate to see both of you going through that. It's just but it's one of the reasons why we're doing this, right? Again, 1 in 2 dogs will die of cancer, 1 in 4 people will die of cancer. So we have to figure out how to navigate that. And a lot of times when a dog has cancer or a person has cancer, a doctor or even people around you will start treating you like they're going to explode the next day, or the day of. And it's not.
Yeah.
Just breathe. Got to breathe and give yourself a moment. Give yourself a moment. And I will tell you, where is it? Who was it?
Kyla.
Kyla, look into PEMF treatments. That will help raise your dog's cellular voltage so that the medicine that you give your dog, the herbs or whatever path you go down, will actually work better because your dog's organs will be at a higher voltage and at a higher level of function.
I'm glad you brought that up because we are trying. Now you can't quote me on this, but we are trying to get him. So we met the guy that has that machine at I hate to call it a machine, I don't know what to call it, at Super Zoo that brings that up, and he couldn't let us use it at Super Zoo because Super Zoo had banned him from letting.
No.
Yeah, but Thriving Pet Expo will, and we're trying to get him to come to the Thriving Pet Expo. So we still got to kind of figure that out, because if he comes to the expo, because I want to buy the machine for the spa, because I want to be able to do that for animals at the spa.
God, yeah, his machines are so awesome because they're a different grade than just like the PEMF mats, but it's stage 4, the number 4 pets.com. You can go there and find a practitioner, your closest practitioner, but the PEMF machines raise cellular voltage, and they do it quickly. Like sitting on the ground raises your cellular voltage, but PEMF therapy raises it super fast. And he has the same units that they use in alternative cancer center treatments. And now Cancer Centers of America are starting to use them because they're making the treatments that they use so much more effective, because when you're just like the little farm dog, when your organs are operating at an optimal function, you are better assimilating, you're better eliminating, your immune system is better, everything is better. I'm actually going to go get a PEMF treatment with one of his machines when I get back from the expo.
Really? I'm trying to get him to come to the expo, and because he's in Arizona, he's not far from us. His main whatever is from Arizona. So we're trying to get him to come out, because I just want to use it and see it and feel it. All the stuff he couldn't let me do at Super Zoo. He felt so bad. He was such a nice man, but he's like, Super Zoo won't let me do it.
They won't do a lot of things. So it's too much of a liability for them, but it doesn't hurt. It's non-invasive, and it definitely is a really great thing for dogs with cancer. It's Lori put the PEMF for pets, stage4pets.com. Check that out, because it can really help with whatever, even when you're using herbs or when you're using super greens or any type of nutraceuticals and stuff. If your organs are functioning better, which it's really great for the lymphatic system as well. When your organs are functioning better, the medicines that you're using are going to function better. They're going to be better. And so they're going to be better assimilated, because another thing with cancer is most cancer people or dogs or cats or whatever are not assimilating and eliminating like they should. And most people with cancer have a very high stress level as well. I know I was stressed out my ears when I
I
had
bet.
cancer.
Oh, I bet. I mean, the word just puts that just saying the word brings a lot of stress. I can only imagine. D,
Oh yeah,
I'm glad
you can
that,
put down a room with that word.
D is on here. She's has a performative, and she's right in the eye of the hurricane. So I'm glad we could give you a little bit of a distraction, um, because she is right in its path. I mean, she's going to be right in its path. So glad we gave you a distraction there. She also has a dog that she's dealing with going in, maybe possibly getting a biopsy or having it removed. But you had mentioned about the PEMF. I know the machine that I'm looking into buying for the spa is about $10,000, but you can go and have it done places, right? Is what you were
Yeah,
saying? Yeah.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
also there's also the practitioners that rent it out, like it's like $500 a week, because it is not something that you have to do for a long period of time at all. It's just a few treatments. It's not something you have to keep doing. That's
Yeah.
not something, that's not how it works.
Huh.
It helps bring up your cellular voltage, and you could do it. I mean, especially like when you're trying to get rid of a tumor, or when you're trying to get rid of an illness, or bring down your stress level. Because when your cells are at the proper voltage, you don't have as much stress. Your body's more resilient. Like right now, as we're all just sitting here, especially on the computer, which brings down cellular voltage, we're all sitting here. Our cells are probably operating between 40 and 50% maximum, when they need to be operating at between 80 and 100%.
Um, Jen, you got to look into it a little bit, but it's bringing up your cellular energy is what we're talking about, and
Yeah.
it's a neat little device. And I know you said you missed it, so I'll just kind of tell you a little bit. They're using it actually in big cancer. Eric, the American Cancer Society? I
Yeah.
think is using.
Yeah. No,
Um,
Cancer of America, not
Cancer,
American
yeah,
Cancer.
yeah. Sorry. So it's just something that is starting to be looked at both in the human and in the animal world. So it's something to think about. But the machines are very expensive, but you can go places. So look up and find a practitioner, someone that's doing it, or like Rita was saying, you can rent the machine and take it home and do it.
And
That kind of
you can go to a practitioner too. But I mean,
yeah,
the technology has been around for a very long time. It's Tesla technology, not
right,
right now. Nikola Tesla,
yeah.
way long time ago, developed the technology for this, and people have worked with it and have started to apply it to different types of cancers and things like that.
My vet has a machine to check for lumps. I
Nice.
don't, yeah, I don't know I'm not sure what that means. But anyway, okay, so we are at the hour. I don't like to keep anybody much longer because it's just Rita's got so much. She's writing books. She's always doing lives and all of these kind of things. So, but thank you for coming on and sharing and telling us about the lymphatic system that you're going to be talking about. I know if you didn't see Rita talk last year, I apologize. You missed out. But Rita is just when I just knowing how Rita is why I knew she had to be part of this group, that we were going to do it, put this group together, these amazing speakers. I can only imagine how great that speech is going to be on the lymph. I'm excited about it. There's so much for me to learn at these events, because like I said, I like that as a vet tech, we didn't learn anything about the lymphatic system at all. It was never brought up. Although interestingly enough, going back to I think it's been 26 years since I was a vet tech. We didn't really see lymphoma. We didn't even see that. So it really wouldn't have been a reason for them to really talk about, the lymphatic system, because we didn't even see the lymphoma back then. Now I just had a really good client of mine whose dog just passed away from lymphoma. So it's definitely something we need to look at. What do you think about grounding sheets?
I think they're pretty good.
Huh.
I think pretty good.
Oh, good. I thought that
But
could be a quick question. So
the lymphatics is how cancer metastasizes. So it's not just lymphoma that we're looking at.
Sure,
You know,
sure, sure, sure. I'm just saying that was the one thing that you would think, and we never even saw that back then, 26 years ago. I don't think I ever saw a dog with lymphoma 26 years ago.
no, 26 years ago was a different ball game.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for
Check
sure.
for cancer. Anyway, so all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and let Rita go. For all of you guys that are watching this that are in Florida, please stay safe. We know that it's rough times out there for you guys. We're thinking of you. Hunker down, hug your friends, keep your animals and you safe, and we'll be thinking of you. Rita, I cannot wait. I cannot believe it is like 30 days away.
I know it's crazy.
I feel like it's taken forever to get back to this, and yet here it is. Here it is. It's 30 days away.
Here it is. I'm doing it.
I know it's happening. Like people are starting to make their hotel reservations and everything's happening. And it's just so very exciting. For all of you guys that always are so supportive and come on here, thank you so much for helping support this community together. It will take all of us to get the change that we need. So we have to be that change. And that's why the Thriving Pet Expo exists. That's why Rita is here. That's why all of the speakers that you see, whether they're at the Thriving Pet Expo or they're on social media, please support them. Be kind. A lot of them are giving you free advice and just trying to help you. A lot of that comes from our passion of loving animals and losing animals. So we're here to help you as much as we can. And we're just excited. We're just so excited to see you guys. Hopefully we'll get to meet you face to face at the Thriving Pet Expo. Behind the scenes always is Lori. She's the one that types everything out for us because I can't type because I didn't take typing in school. That was stupid. And I'm also very not tech savvy. So I want to thank Lori too. Always, Lori, thank you very much for putting
Lori.
this on. It means a lot. And of course, Rita, couldn't have this without you. Couldn't have the Thriving Pet Expo without you. It would not be the same. So I'm just so blessed to know you. To just be around you is amazing. So thank you so much for being here tonight. And I will see you in 30 days. And hopefully I'll see the rest of you guys too. All right. Any last words, Rita?
Nope. That's all I got. Thank you.
All right, guys. Good night, everybody.